Good evening, folks. This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates coming to you live from the Crossroads of the West in Salt Lake City, Utah. The time right now is 6 p.m. straight up Mountain Standard Time on Sunday, March 22nd, 2020. We want to welcome everybody here that is going to be joining us this evening on our broadcast in the chat room and who may be calling in, or those who will be joining us later during the broadcast or even at another time, another day here on the Emergency Management Associates program. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We have what I think is a pretty good program tonight. We are going to be talking about seismic matters, and then we're going to be talking about the coronavirus. Now, lately we've been talking about the coronavirus as the top story of our program, and tonight we're going to start off with seismic matters. I want to go over right now to our map here. I'm going to bring that up real quick here. As you can see, we've had quite a numerous bunch of earthquakes today. Quite a few earthquakes today. We want to begin right now talking about those. Let's talk about this one over here right now in the Atlantic Ocean. Central Mid-Atlantic Ridge, the fracture zone that runs from the North Sandwich Islands all the way up into the region of the North Pole, past Iceland, Greenland, and Svalbard, all the way up here up north. Guess what? The central mid-Atlantic got hit by a 5.6, but not to be outdone by another earthquake. One of the latest large earthquakes that has hit, a 6.1 very strong earthquake, hit the central East Pacific Ridge off of the west coast of South America and the south coast of Central America today, a 6.1. So we've had this one over here, a 5.6, a 6.1. Over in Tonga, we've had a 5.1 magnitude earthquake there, a pretty deep earthquake, 28 kilometers, 328 kilometers deep. That earthquake hit earlier this morning over here in Indonesia, almost central Indonesia. It actually hit the Indonesian country here. It wasn't even in the ocean. This hit over on land in central Indonesia today. A 5.1 magnitude earthquake hit 35 kilometers northeast of Nabire, Indonesia. This one hit land. Again, this earthquake hit in darkness, during darkness, before Monday morning their time. And we still have not heard any of any damages or injuries in that quake. Large earthquakes such as this can lead to damages and injuries, and sometimes a lot worse. Going over here to central Indonesia, another 5.1 magnitude earthquake hit 50 kilometers, about 28 miles northeast of Bogu, Indonesia, earlier today. Off the southern coast of Java, South Java, a 5.0 magnitude earthquake hit 238 kilometers south of Kangen, Indonesia. So it's been one thing after another today. We've had a large amount of earthquakes, large amount of large earthquakes. But not to be outdone, let's go over to the coast of North America, over to the northern part of California, over to the Triple Junction today. Triple Junction got hit with another earthquake, a 4.8 magnitude earthquake got hit right at the critical point of the Triple Junction. The Cascades subduction zone, the Gorda escarpment, and the San Andreas fault got hit. This earthquake hit at the Triple Junction today off of Northern California. This is a force to be reckoned with. I believe we are probably building for a larger earthquake off the Northern California coast and or Cascadia. Okay? I believe that there's probably going to be a very much larger earthquake in this area. Just south and east of this Triple Junction, over in Carson City, near Carson City, Nevada, where the 5.1 hit the other day, we have a 3.2 magnitude earthquake here, an aftershock of, I believe it was Fridays. It was Friday's large earthquake over there in Carson City, near Carson City, Nevada. Today, we've also had a 3.2 magnitude earthquake, somewhat small, a 3.2 magnitude earthquake, 3 kilometers northwest of Lake Marcel, Stillwater, Washington, up here in the northwest coast of Washington. I believe this might come as something here. Okay, this is not the only earthquake that hit here. We've had many other earthquakes that hit. Another earthquake over here in Kansas, Harrington, Kansas, had a small 3.1 magnitude earthquake. Jumping down here to Texas, Gardendale, Texas, had a small 3.0 magnitude quake. Now, you may wonder, here's a 3.2 in Nevada. Over here in Kansas, we've had a 3.1. Over here in Gardendale, Texas, we've had a 3.0. Also, look at what's happened here in Salt Lake. Magna, Utah, had a 2.8 magnitude aftershock from Thursday's 5.7 earthquake that we had here in Salt Lake City. What is going on? Here's a near 3. The others here are 3, except for this earthquake over in Searles Valley, which was a 2.5. But all the rest of these are near 3s, but we've had this 4.8 near large earthquake. It's a very much a question here. Okay. Also, this 4.8 here, what happened here in Katavik, Alaska? We had a 3.6. What happened here in southeast Alaska? We had a 3.0. There's a lot of questions here. Also, another earthquake that hit. Come on, I'm trying to enlarge this or zoom in on this map here. Another earthquake that hit this afternoon. Here's a 4.6 moderate quake that hit in the open area of the Caribbean. A 4.6 moderate quake, 51 kilometers southeast of East End, Cayman Islands. East End, Cayman Islands. This is near the same location as a 6.6 magnitude earthquake that hit here nearly 2 months ago. Okay, we've had a lot of seismic activity. We've had a lot of seismic activity. We've also had this earthquake over in China today, a large 4.9, 5.0 magnitude earthquake, 99 kilometers northeast of Aksu, China. Aksu, southwestern China. Well, actually, that's central China. I shouldn't even say southwest. That's central China. Okay, it continues to happen, folks. These large earthquakes are all over. These large earthquakes are all over. Let's look at this, okay? There's a large earthquake here. This earthquake over in Croatia happened yesterday, but we've continued to get hammered by aftershocks there, the 3.4 in Croatia. But we had a large earthquake here in China, one here in the central mid-Atlantic, over here in the east central Pacific, in the central Pacific Ridge, over in Tonga, we've gotten hit today. We've gotten hit over here in Indonesia, here, and here. 3 large earthquakes there. Also a 4.8 in Sarangani, Philippines, near large earthquake there. That's a lot of seismic power. And I honestly don't believe it's over. I don't believe this is over. And I'll show you why. Let me pull up the EMSC map. For those of you that have been with me long enough, you understand that we use the EMSC and we use the USGS map. Just so you know, we've had an earthquake within the last half hour over here in southwestern Puerto Rico off the coast. A 2.5 small earthquake hit 10 kilometers, 5 miles south of Guanica, Puerto Rico. Okay. I'm going to show you now earthquakes that the aftershocks that have hit here in Salt Lake City. We've had quite a number of aftershocks here in Salt Lake City. Okay. That's not all. As I said, look up here in Northwest Washington. What's happened here? That's quite a number of earthquakes, isn't it? Over here in Birch Bay, Washington, USGS didn't tell us about this. Here's a 2.08 magnitude earthquake, a small earthquake, minor earthquake. Puget Sound area, right. Puget Sound area. South of there, we've had a few other earthquakes here. Just south of there, we've had 5 other earthquakes. 5 other earthquakes. What are they? Where are they? Duvall, Washington. We've had a small 3.2 that USGS did not tell us about. Okay. West of there, also in Duvall, a 0.38, a 0.98, a 1.41, and a 1.15. Okay, we had a 3 here, and then we had a series of 1s right next to it in Duvall, Washington. And that's not all. That is not all. South of there, what do we have here? Here's another one at Mount Rainier, folks. On the north flank of Mount Rainier today. The north flank of Mount Rainier. Let me lower the light level on this, I'm sorry. Okay, the north end of Mount Rainier, we had a 0.59. Yes, it's a minor tremor. a minor earthquake, but nonetheless, Mount Rainier got hit again. Just southwest of Mount Rainier is 0.62. South of that, what do we have? What do we have south, a little bit southwest of Mount Rainier? I wonder what we have. Right up near the summit of Mount Rainier, excuse me, Mount St. Helens, we have a 0.28. Just on the south ridge, the south rim of Mount St. Helens, 0.28 magnitude quake. It sounds like the Pacific Northwest is ringing. Three Rivers, Oregon, up inside the mountain, up inside a mountain, Three Rivers, Oregon, a minus 0.51, meaning it's above sea level. Meaning it's above sea level. I believe we have another mountain. And what do we have at the top summit of the mountain? A lake. I wonder. We have a lake. Folks, there's a reason that earthquake hit. And then we have that earthquake over off the Northern California coast, Triple Junction area. We always have these earthquakes at the geysers. I wonder what's going on. I know what's going on. Look what happened near Carson, Nevada. Remember that 5.1 that hit Carson, Nevada the other day? We've got a bunch of aftershocks, a lot of aftershocks, okay? We have almost as many aftershocks as the 5.7 in Salt Lake. True. Carson City, minus 0.1. A bunch of them, minus 0.1. A good swarm of earthquakes. 0.2, 3.2. Indian Hills near Carson. 3.2. 1.1, 1.5, 0.2. There's a bunch of earthquakes. I just tapped some of them. Okay, there's a bunch, there's a swarm of aftershocks all around Carson City. Okay, I wonder what's happening. I think you can guess what's happening. I think you know what's happening. Let's go up to Yellowstone. Lincoln, Montana, a 1.13 magnitude quake. South of there, Whitehall, Montana, minus 0.79. Again, up inside a mountain. This is Yellowstone, folks. Dillon, Montana, a 1.68. This is in the magma chamber of Yellowstone National Park. Okay, those are just 3 earthquakes that they're reporting. There's quite a few more there. It's amazing. It's amazing what we find when we go digging. Kosh, Mexico, up over by just south of the United States border, Kosh, Mexico, a 4.0. 4.0. It's popping. The earth is literally popping. Okay. A 1.60 Mount Redoubt. Volcano, guys. South of there at Anchor Point, 1.1. Over in Old Alama, we have a 2.7, and just near there, Larsen Bay area, near Old Alama, we have a 1.8. It's all over. It really is all over the place, folks. Just south of Kamchatka Peninsula, a 3.8. 3.8 just south of Kamchatka Peninsula. And actually, there's two quakes. There's a 3.8 and a 3.7. It could actually be called the Kuril Islands over there, just south of the Kamchatka Peninsula. 3.7 to 3.8. And I'm kind of going different. I started off in the north. I started off with a general overview of what had happened. And then I started off in the north, and now I'm going south. Ryukyu Islands, there's a 3.2. Oh, what happened there? I didn't touch a darn thing. There it is, a 3.2 in the Ryukyu Islands, south of Japan. Over just off the coast of Taiwan, we have a 3.8. 3.8 just south of Taiwan. Excuse me, that's a 3.0. I'm sorry about that. Over on the Luzon Island in the Philippines, we have a 3.0. Bunch of threes, huh? There's another 3.3 just south of Luzon. Just south of there, a 3.5. Am I making a point here? A series of threes, north and south. Here's another one over just on the northeast side of Mindanao Island, Philippines. Another 3. Oh, I'm sorry. Another 3. Here's a 3.5 over in the central part of Mindanao Island. Okay, let me widen that out for you. In fact, there's 2 of them there. I'm sorry, or 3 of them. I missed them. I missed the other 2. Here's a 4.0, Kiblawan, Philippines, 4.0. Then we go over here. We have a 3.5 and a 3.7. Threes up and down the area. South of Mindanao Island, here's a 4.6. A 3.9, Molucca Sea, Central Indonesia. Okay. Sulawesi, Indonesia, a 3.7. A 4.5. A 3.7 and a 4.5. Right next to that, 5.1. Right next to this 5.1. South of there, a 4.0. So we have all those threes, and then we come down to Sarangani, Philippines, where we have a 4, and down here into Indonesia, where we have 4s and 5s. Interesting how that works. These 4s are flowing north, and we're getting mid-range 3s. And this 5, it's going to be 4s up here in the Philippines very shortly, as the seismic energy flows north. Okay. And remember that 5 that was down here south of Java? Right there south of Java? Just north of that, an aftershock, a 3.8. And it's on that ridge, that fracture zone, just south of Java. And east of there, here's another 3.9, again in central Indonesia, south central Indonesia. Right next to that ridge here, this Philippine trench, or Indonesian trench, I'm sorry, Indonesian trench. You can see it, can't you? Look at all those plates converging, subducting. Subducting. Do you understand what is going on? We have a lot of earth changes, folks. We better get used to it. And then there's an earthquake that, again, USGS did not tell us about. This one is over near the Kermadec Islands again. This is the 5.41 in the Kermadec Islands, north of mainland New Zealand. North of mainland New Zealand. We also have an aftershock right near there, a 3.88. 3.88. Let's go over to the North Island, New Zealand here. Let's see what's happened here. Okay. The north end of New Zealand, near White Island. We have 3 earthquakes over here in the Bay of Plenty. We have a 2.5, a 2.33, and a 2.28 in the Bay of Plenty here. We have 3 earthquakes here. 3 earthquakes near White Island. I think we need to keep an eye on White Island, because all 3 of these earthquakes literally surround White Island there. 2 on the north and 1 on the south of White Island. Okay, then let's go down here near another volcano, north of the volcano. We have a 3.1. There's the volcano. 3.1 here. Okay, that's just northeast of the volcano. Over on the east coast, the central east coast of the North Island, we have a 2.49 there. We don't get told about these. Why is it, USGS, that you can't be honest and tell us and show us what's going on? 2.53 over here in the Cook Strait. This is the Cook Strait between the North and South Island over here. The South Island, we have a 2.23, a 2.22, and a 2.69, and a 2.32 on the north part of the South Island. Mid-range to upper 2s there. And then over on the far south end, we have a 2.6 near Southland, New Zealand, a 2.6. And notice where that is. Notice where that is. It's just off to the side of that earthquake fault that reaches down to the North Antarctic Ridge. Reaches off to the North Antarctic Ridge. Okay. Do you see what we're seeing here? Over in Central America, we didn't have any 5s today, but we had a bunch of other earthquakes here. South Central Chile. We had a 3.1, 3.1, and a 3.2. Going north near Santiago, O'Higgins, Chile, we have a 3.0. Just north of there on the coast there. Oh gosh. On the coast there, we have a 3.2. Just a hair north and east, we have a 3.2 at the, doggone it. We have a 3.2 at the Argentine-Chilean border. Argentine-Chilean border, San Juan province. San Juan province is not any stranger to any kind of earthquakes. They have had 5s and mid-range 5s in the past year. Let's go up into northern Chile, but this time at the Chilean-Argentine border, Soquer, Argentina. Soquer, Argentina, we've had a 3.2, a 3.5, and also a 4.7. 3.5, a 4.2, and a 3.7. 4.2 is right in the middle there. Okay, we had 3s going here, and going north we had a 4.2 and 2 3s up there, mid-range 3s. Then off the northeast coast of Venezuela, we have another earthquake here, a 3.3, just off the northeast coast of Venezuela. Interesting, huh? It's very interesting. Central America, El Salvador, we have a 3.1. Oh, darn it. We have a 3.1 in San Miguel, El Salvador. Then we have, what do we have? Over in southern Mexico, it always avoids Guatemala. Starts in southern Mexico, 3.7, 4.0, 4.7, or 4.0, 3.7, right next to each other. And what is it? That is the other side, the southern side of the San Andreas Fault down there. Fun, huh? And those 3s, 3.6, they're just over on land there. But they start right there, right at the border of Guatemala and southern Mexico. And we start getting all of these swarms. All these swarms. 3.8s, 3.8s, 3.7s, 3.8s, 3.8s, 3.7, and it continues. Over Atlanta, 3.6, right on the shore, southern Mexico. A bunch of 3s in that swarm, and then it continues. Goes into Noreste de Huantepec, Noreste de Tehuantepec. I know I'm butchering that. Larry, if you can pronounce that, I have probably butchered that. And my friends that speak Spanish, I'm so sorry. Oaxaca, Mexico, 3.7. Okay, right near the coast there. Over on the San Andreas Fault, a 3.4 again. It's amazing. Swarms. Swarms and swarms and more swarms here. 3.5s, 3.2s, 3.4s, 3.2s, and a lot more. A lot more. We go up the coast. Coyuca de Benitez, 3.4. Okay. And goes up there along the fault. We have 3.7s and also another 3.7 right near shore there. And over on land there near Guaycamayas, Michoacan, Mexico. We've got another 3 here. This is a 3.7 upper 3.7 there. But it continues, folks. It continues. We have a 3.9 going up near Puerto Vallarta, 3.6 and a 3.9 at near off the coast of Puerto Vallarta. It's amazing. Then over on the coast, a 3.2. What's going on? These are building, folks. These are building. Going up mainland Mexico near the central part of mainland Mexico. Sureste de Saltillo, Cauá. Sureste de Saltillo, Cauá, 4.0. Then we go up to Gardendale, Texas, a 3.0 there. Okay, we told you about these. Okay, we told you about that one in Kansas, a 3.1. Then USGS only had 1 earthquake in Oklahoma. Really? Looks like 4s to me. Vicky, Oklahoma, a 2.08. Oh gosh. Vicky, Oklahoma, a 2.08. Just north of there. Moreland, Oklahoma, 1.51. Southeast of there, we have Fairview, Oklahoma, 1.75. And east of there, we have a 1.66. All of these, even though they're minor quakes, small tremors, all of them are in oil and gas pumping operations. Oil and gas pumping operations. Look at all of these. Oil field after oil field. Okay. See that? Surrounded by oil fields. Okay. There's 2 earthquakes. Let's find the nearest pump and jack, okay? Let's do that. Let's find the nearest pump and jack just to see what we have. Let's see what we got here. Bingo. That's just southwest of that earthquake. Southwest of that quake. Let's see what else we can find here. I just love it when I see a bunch of pumps and jacks. It's just amazing to me, folks. It really slays me to know what's going on here. And there's another one. Okay, tanks. And there's a jack right in the middle of it. Okay, if you can see where this is, it's just southwest of these two quakes. And you can see all the oil pumping jacks all over here surrounding these earthquakes, literally surrounding these quakes. Fracking. Earthquakes caused by fracking. That's the reason we have the USGS in existence. That's what they started doing, is telling the oil people, the barons, where the oil was. Now, over on the north side of the New Madrid Fault, we have a 2.3 magnitude earthquake over in Missouri, Gerardo, Missouri. You can see the fault up here. It's Cape Girardeau, Missouri, a 2.3 magnitude earthquake. Okay, that's at the north end of the New Madrid Fault. Now we have no more earthquakes over here along the East Coast and up into Canada today. We have no earthquakes over here along the East Coast over into Canada. Okay. So I hope this gives you an idea of what's going on. Okay, look what it says there in Southern California. It says 100 plus earthquakes. 100 plus earthquakes. Okay, it's amazing. It's amazing. Mammoth Lakes, earthquakes. There's a 1.24 there, 1.51 just east of there. Then we go over to Goldfield, Nevada, right in the middle of the Longs Valley Caldera, just east of Mammoth. Mammoth here, Longs Valley Caldera. South of there, 20 plus earthquakes. The north end, Cozo Junction. Then we go over to Little Lake. Little Lake, Cozo Junction 0.96, 0.96, 0.89, 1.82. Cozo Junction. Okay, then we go down to Little Lake. We have a small swarm there. And it continues to larger swarms. Little Lake, California, 1.79. Going down south, Ridgecrest, California, 0.92. Yes, these are minor quakes. But the swarms continue, folks. The swarms continue. 0.94 Ridgecrest. Searles Valley, the swarms continue. 0.46 there. Do you get what I'm saying? Swarms and swarms and swarms and more swarms. Searles Valley. This one's at 1.07. South of there, 2.51 Searles Valley. Way south of there, 1.46 in Ridgecrest. near Ridgecrest there. This one is 12 miles east, southeast of Ridgecrest. Swarms and swarms of quakes. It's amazing what's down here, folks. It's completely amazing to me. Now, if we go directly south past the Garlock Fault over to Palmdale, California, we have a 0.87 earthquake right on the San Andreas Fault, Palmdale, California. Palmdale, California. Further north, just south of the geysers, Seven Trees, California, 1.62. 1.62 just south of the geysers on the San Andreas Fault. And then we get down here to Southern California here. There's the Palmdale quake I told you about. We go south along the fault. Loma Linda over near Glen Avon. Near Glen Avon. Remember that huge gulch where they poured all that acid trying to mine some gold over there? North east of there, Lucerne Valley of 1.50. Then we come down here where we have the swarms again. What do we have around the swarms? Winchester, California. Grand Terrace, California. Winchester, California, 0.69, 0.86. Cabazon is 0.58. It's going to the Anza Gap. The Anza Gap, folks, right here. Riverside, California. Remember Terry saying that it was going to change Riverside? Riverside area will be destroyed. There's a bunch of earthquakes just like last year. Just like last year. Okay. Then we go over into Escondido, California. Escondido, California, 0.81. Escondido, California is probably the northernmost town before you leave San Diego County. You've got another 20 miles north and then you leave San Diego County. But Escondido got hit by 0.81 today. Now those folks didn't feel it. My friends in Escondido did not feel it, but it happened. Escondido got hit. Okay, let's go down to Lake Henshaw. Let's go to Lake Henshaw, a 1.42 in Lake Henshaw, my fishing spot east of Escondido. Okay, Lake Henshaw. Julian got hit, the Apple capital of California, 0.10 earthquake. Again, a minor tremor. Julian got hit again. And a 1.48 too, just south of the 0.1, 1.48 in Julian. Okay, now that's the west side of the Chocolate Mountains. Let's jump over to the east side, Ocotillo Wells, a 1.22 over near just west of the Salton Sea. 1.22 just west of the Salton Sea. Okay, let's go over right next to the Salton Sea. Salton City got hit again. 1.04 Salton City, just west of the lake there. Actually, the lake. It's a Salton Sea, an inland sea. Over off the east side of the lake, Nyland, California, in the lake, a 1.45. In the water, I should say, not the lake. Salton Sea in the water, a 1.45. right next to Nyland, California. Okay, so it's going, folks. And what do we have here? We have what they call the Imperial Fault, or the otherwise named the San Andreas. It's right on the fault, the volcano in the fault. And nothing else in Imperial Valley. Nothing else there. Funny how that happens, huh? All those earthquakes. Okay. All those earthquakes up and down. I think we need to keep our eyes open, folks. What do you think? What do you think we need to keep our eyes open? Do you think we're going to get a larger earthquake pretty soon? I think so. I think it's a matter of time. I think it's a matter of time. All right. Let's take a look at something else here. I told you we were going to take a look at COVID-19. Okay, let's take a look at COVID-19. I think we have a reason to be concerned, and we're going to get more into that reason in just a very few minutes. In just a very, very few minutes. We're going to go over to Park City, Utah for a minute. I'm going to read an article out of the Park Record. The Park Record here. Now, the Park Record is a local paper, fish wrap. I shouldn't call it a fish wrap, but what can I say? It's a small local newspaper for Park City, Utah. It's interesting here. I tried to bring up the program on again on the YouTube, and it doesn't show our program on YouTube. Go figure. Okay. The article here in the Park Record has an article about here's what it was like for a Park City woman to be tested for COVID-19. This lady is a resident of Park City, Molly Miller. Molly Miller. Okay. Pamela says, when I play music before I talk, you guys can't hear it. Robert says he could. That's interesting. I'm sorry about that, Pamela, if you can't hear it. Okay, I want to just talk about this lady here. Okay, Molly Miller. Molly Miller was up early Wednesday getting ready to head out to get tested for the pandemic sweeping the globe when her Prospector home started shaking. Okay, remember that 5.7 earthquake in Salt Lake? They felt it up in Park City, up on top of the mountain. Okay, she says, I was kind of getting ready to get a COVID test and the earthquake hit. I was quite taken aback. A few hours later, Miller had been tested for the coronavirus in Salt Lake City. And she was driving back up the canyon. It's called Parley's Summit, Parley's Canyon, going up to Parley Summit before it drops back down into the Park City area. And she was driving up the canyon feeling like a huge weight had been lifted off her shoulders. Then she says the previous week had given Miller rare insight into the systems that had been set up to try to combat the outbreak of the coronavirus, providing both highs and lows and leaving the Park City small business owner with feelings of gratitude toward healthcare workers and a message for her fellow Parkites. It is really overwhelming. It is a really overwhelming time for the community. And I think the more that we can be together while separated, the better we can be. You know, it's a scary time. A little bit of compassion goes a long way. The story starts 2 weeks before the earthquake. 1,000 miles away in San Diego, Miller was there for a social media and digital marketing conference, a trip she had debated skipping because of the growing outbreak. It wasn't until a week after she'd flown home that she began to exhibit mild flu-like symptoms. I was feeling achy, she said, sore throat, headache, and then I ended up taking my temperature, and I had a minor fever as well, Miller said. I was like, oh no, I think I just had that shaking feeling in my gut, and I realized I needed to start staying inside my house. Miller lives with her 2 small daughters and a husband in Prospector, and after consulting with him, they both notified people who had been in close contact with, including work colleagues. The next day, Miller began talking to healthcare professionals. She first reached out to her primary care physicians, she said, and was given an Intermountain Healthcare hotline number to call. The hotline was digitized, she said, and she was told to download an app. Once she had done that, she was instructed to fill out a questionnaire and presented with an option for a telescreening, which she was told would cost $60. At that point, after about 3 hours on the phone or the application, Miller decided to hit pause before going further. I was just like, oh my gosh, it was one thing after another. I was trying to get my work done, trying to take care of my 4.5-year-old daughter, and just trying to figure out whether my symptoms really merited me doing a healthcare screening and going through all the rigmarole. She said what really hit home for me, someone with really urgent symptoms wasn't going to have time for this. At that time, it just seemed like a really imperfect and clunky process for someone who was feeling really not great. Miller slept on it and decided to go forward with the telescreening. The next day, she was asked about her symptoms, living situation, travel history, during a quick, dry conversation with a healthcare professional who called her back a few minutes later to tell her she was low risk and not qualified to take a test. I couldn't help but feel a little bit frustrated and a little bit worried, she said. When they said I'm low risk, my immediate reaction was, no, I'm not. It felt my instinct immediately was the exact antithesis of what I was being told. She said she tried to have compassion for the healthcare workers on the other side of the phone and acknowledged they were probably as frustrated as she was. Still, the process was far from perfect. Certainly, when I was going through like the phone call and the digital pieces of it, it felt so cold. Miller went through the telescreen process on Friday, March 13th, and over the weekend monitored her symptoms and used over-the-counter flu medications. She continued to have aches, a fever, and a headache. She told some friends about her experience and they recommended she try the University of Utah hotline. She called on Monday. That could not have been a more compassionate experience. I will sing it from the rooftops, Miller said. The interactions over the phone were all with people, and she ended up speaking with a doctor who was kind and made her feel like she was being rushed through the system. They also never asked for payment or insurance information. She was told to call back if her symptoms got worse, and she did so. And when she started to experience a heavy and tightness of her chest on Tuesday, she was quickly put through to a telescreening and cleared to be tested for COVID-19. In the intervening few days, she said, San Diego had been determined to be a hotspot, and community spread had begun in Summit County, where she lived. On Wednesday, Miller headed down to the drive-through testing site in the Sugar House neighborhood of Salt Lake City, which is in the eastern part of Salt Lake. It seemed pretty apocalyptic, Miller said. It seemed like I was in a movie. It seemed like Contagion came to life. Miller held her ID up to her car window, and after a healthcare worker checked the list, she took her place in the line, 3 cars back. Healthcare workers in large tents were shedding gowns and masks after one patient and donning new personal protective equipment to get ready for the next car. Of course, yes, they needed to be taking their precautions. I'd be scared if they weren't. It made it really hit home when I saw all these preparations going on. Each car took about 5 minutes, Miller estimated, kind of like a little car wash type scenario. Listening to coverage of the morning's earthquake on the radio and staring at healthcare workers who looked like movie extras. Miller remembers thinking, is this really life? I was just totally flummoxed about my current state in the universe, she said. It was so surreal. A healthcare professional snapped her out of her reverse with a smile and a big wave. The kind of human interaction that Miller said brought her back to reality. When it was her turn, Miller pulled forward into a privacy providing tent, rolled her window down. She steeled herself against the throat swab she knew was coming. But first, the healthcare professional unscrewed the red cap from a long tube and took out a nose swab wrapped in plastic. She was warned it might be pretty uncomfortable, but didn't give it a second thought. So they reached in, and I can feel it. I'm like, this isn't bad. And then it keeps going in and in and in, and it keeps going in. It keeps going in. And I was like, how is it possible that this little swab is still going into my nose? Miller said with a laugh. I felt like I could feel it into my brain and jaw at the same time. It's the most discerning feeling I've ever had in my life. After the swab came out, it was in there about a year, Miller jokingly estimates. The healthcare providers did a throat swab, and she was on her way. She was told to expect results in about 48 hours. Miller wasn't sure which way she wanted the results to come out. On the one hand, a positive test meant that she'd be done with the ordeal in a way, having hopefully gained immunity to the virus, though scientists have not proven that to be the case. But she said she felt guilty for having exposed her family to it, and that she'd be devastated if she spread it to anyone who was immunocompromised. So, maybe 50-50. I wouldn't know what I would want, Miller said. On Wednesday, I wouldn't want to be positive, but I feel it could be a bit of a relief. I really don't know. It's just a confounding time. On Friday morning, Miller called the number she was given, and after about a minute wait, I learned that the test had come back negative. Taking a break from working on an improvised number game, with her daughter, Miller said the outcome was a weight off her shoulders and a huge feeling of relief. That was one person's ordeal with COVID-19 testing. Today, there are 50 people in the Park City, Summit County area that have tested positive for COVID-19. Now I have some bad news. A resident of Davis County, just north of Salt Lake, died today of COVID-19. He was a 60-year-old man. Actually, he was over 60, and he had had other compromising health problems. His family brought him into the hospital Saturday morning, and he died this morning in a Davis County hospital. His name is being withheld for the time being. His family members have been notified. The COVID-19 task force that the lieutenant governor was put in charge of reported the outcome of this victim. And we're sorry to report that he's dead today. There's 182 people that have tested positive just in Utah alone. 182 people. And so far, we've only had one death. That was today. Yesterday, we had 136. So just overnight, we've had another 44 people just here in Utah. And we've had one death. Folks, this is serious. This is so very serious. I'm going to give you some numbers. This is up to the minute. Throughout the world, we've had 336,838 cases of coronavirus. We've had 14,616 deaths. 97,000 people have recovered. 97,636 people have recovered. We have 224,588 active cases. We have 112,252 cases which have been closed or had an outcome. 97,636 have recovered. We've had 14,616 deaths. Right now we have 10,640 people in serious or critical condition. That's 5% of all the coronavirus cases. We have 213,946 people in mild, medium conditions. Do we have something to worry about? I think we do. I think we do. Right now, we have Washington State, that is under quarantine. We have California. We have parts of Oregon. We have 2 counties in Idaho. We have all of California, the entire state of California. We have 1 county, 1 large county in Texas. New Orleans is about to go under a quarantine as well. And then within a very short time, the entire state of Louisiana will be behind that. New York, the entire state of New York is under quarantine right now. New Jersey is under quarantine. Parts of Connecticut are under quarantine. Illinois and Ohio are quarantined. I think we have a problem. Today at the news conference, we had the coronavirus task force that had a news conference for us at 4:30 Mountain Time in Washington, D.C. They were upbeat for the most part. They warned us that this was far from over, that we were in the middle of the battle, and the battle was going to increase. Mr. and Mrs. Pence were tested yesterday. Their test came back negative. The president was tested Saturday morning. His results came back negative. One of Mr. Pence's people that work for him came back positive. Senator Rand Paul came back positive. A congressman yesterday came back positive. So 2 members of Congress are positive. We have several members of Congress that are self-quarantining because they were around somebody that had the coronavirus. Do we have a problem? Yes, we do. How are we dealing with it? How are each one of you dealing with it today? What are you going to do? I want you to be ready. I want you to be ready. Now, I'm going to go through an article that was in the Salt Lake Tribune today. It says hundreds of missionaries for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints streamed through the doors of the Salt Lake City International Airport today, marking an atypical detour in their religious service from the Utah-based faith. The global outbreak of the novel coronavirus had prompted the church to adapt its foundation proselyting program, shuttering missionary training centers worldwide, and scrambling to return young men and young women to their native countries. Church spokesman Doug Anderson said that more than 1,600 missionaries returned to Utah on Sunday from the Philippines and on 5 chartered flights. All the missionaries will be asked to self-isolate for 14 days. Anderson said that after which many will be reassigned to temporary service areas, while others will be released from their missionary service. All missionaries who are not native to the Philippines, he said, are being moved out of that country. The young men and young women arrived at Salt Lake's airport on Sunday were greeted by crowds of family and friends outside the short-term parking garage. The onlookers jockeyed for position while also trying to maintain safe distances from one another in response to social distancing recommendations meant to slow the spread of COVID-19. They were cheering and screaming every time the missionaries come out, said the Salt Lake Tribune photographer Rick Egan, who observed the scene. In addition to the changes to its missionary program, the church has suspended weekly religious services all over the world and canceled public attendance at its general conference the first weekend in April, a twice annual gathering where members now can view the exclusivity of the general conference on the internet and on television. Here's a picture of one of the missionaries, I believe, greeting his grandfather, probably his father or grandfather. Okay. There was another picture here and it just disappeared. I don't know where it went. Yeah, it just disappeared. That's weird. Anyway, that's just one. Oh, here it is right there. People were asked, not just more members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but people were asked if they were United States citizens who were abroad, were asked to return to the United States as soon as possible. Our son is in Japan right now. I'm hoping like heck that he gets heck out of Japan and gets back here in the United States. I have a feeling he's going to have to be quarantined or isolated for 14 days. We have the large house where he can get isolated to his bedroom. We can bring him meals to his bedroom and he can stay there. We don't want to infect the family if he's bringing something back from Japan or back from the plane. We don't know who's on that plane or who will be on his plane, but we know that he could bring back something from Japan. Right now, Japan is one of the areas that is being beset or set upon by the coronavirus. Japan and South Korea have been hit with the coronavirus pretty bad, actually. But I hope our son can get back here real quick. We haven't heard anything from him, but I do know that the State Department, my son's only there on vacation in Japan, and I think the State Department would have notified him by now to catch the next plane back. But there's a lot of stuff going on right now, folks. A lot of stuff. And we have to be ready for it. We really do. We have to be ready. What are we doing to be ready for the coronavirus? What are we doing to protect ourselves? I saw a video on YouTube, and it's actually published. I don't remember the name of the group, and I will find out. It's an organization that publishes emergency preparedness things. And they talked about how to protect yourself and how to gear up your home for the coronavirus. But I wanted to ask, what are each and every one of you doing? How are you preparing yourselves and your families for the possibility of the coronavirus? Are you complaining that there's too much going on, or that, oh, it's not going to happen to us? I've seen that here. I've seen that here. A lot of people are upset that they have to have their lives put on hold, at least temporarily, by the coronavirus. Even members of my own family are kind of upset by the whole thing. They're upset that their lives will be put on hold, that we won't be able to go out and do the things we wanted to do, to go for a drive at the drop of a hat, to do anything at the drop of a hat. Now, what I've told you was going to happen here in the United States is happening. It's happening, folks. The National Guard has been called up. And they're telling people to stay home. One county in Idaho is actually going to prosecute. They're going to prosecute people that don't want to stay home. They're going to put them in jail. Not all police departments or counties are doing that. But the National Guard has been called up. They're on the streets of New Jersey and New York right now. And the president said today that they have got the National Guard geared up in Washington State and in California. And the governors are in charge of the National Guard to get the citizens to obey the governor's order to quarantine yourself. Have you got your supplies to quarantine you and your family? What are you doing to comply with the order? Or are you going to have to go out at the last minute, or after you've been quarantined, you're going to have to go out and get supplies? Now, I want to tell you something. Please take this in the manner of which I'm giving it to you. I want you to get your supplies and get them now. Don't wait any longer. It could be tonight or tomorrow, and you'd be sentenced to your home. Now, one of the memos that I got today would be you'd be sentenced to home for 8 to 10 weeks. I've heard 16 weeks. I've heard to the middle of June. I've also heard 18 months. What are you going to do? Coronavirus is spreading throughout the United States, folks, and around the world. Our friend Larry is in Belize, and they've been quarantined. They've been quarantined. What are you going to do? Larry's got all the supply. He and his wife have got all the supplies and everything that they need down in Belize. But who else down there doesn't? Now, this is really like a world war. And even the president and the coronavirus task force have said that. But we really are in a theoretical survival scenario right now. And it's as plausible as that of World War III, the next big one. And we have the threat of more earthquakes. I believe those are going to happen. But be it in the form of a society-shattering civil war or a global conflict with several major superpowers fully involved, along with dozens of smaller participants, anyone who's caught in or near the conflict zones of this war will have all their survival skills put to a severe test. It is difficult to overstate the wide-reaching effects and the threats of world war that we presented to civilians. Okay, we have a telephone call. Let's find out who's calling us. Caller, you're on the air with Ron Tyler. Who am I talking to?
You Times and Signs.
Hi, Times and Signs. How are you, sis?
Oh, Rubber Ducky's not in the picture right now. But anyway, you got a bunch of viewers on your Emergency Management Associates page who are watching right now. I got them on live for you.
Awesome.
And they're wanting to know what supplies they should get.
Okay. I'm going to tell you one of the most simplest things. Food and water. Make sure you have plenty of food and water. That is the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing that you can do right now. Make sure you have food and water. Because if you don't, you're not going to do well. You're not going to do well. And then I'm going to tell you this. Don't tell anyone what you have or what you don't have. Why? Because other people are going to show up at your door and expect you to share with them. Okay? Because other people are going to show up at your door.
Okay.
I don't think you want that to happen. Okay? I don't want to put you in or put any of my friends and relatives and other people, my neighbors, at my behest, begging me for my supplies. We have enough for our family for maybe 6 months at the most. But we found out today that it could be 18 months before this is over. Now, here in Utah, at least, they have given us, if they put us on lockdown, they've given us the opportunity to be able to go to the store or pick up our mail, which I'm not sure whether we even want to do. I'm not sure we're going to be even able to do that. And why would anybody send us anything if they can't get to the mailbox themselves? Okay? But get your food and water. That's of primary importance. Okay, that's one. Make sure you have medical supplies. If you are sick with any kind of illness or disease. I'm a diabetic. It's not necessarily a disease, it's more of an illness. But I have plenty of insulin to last me 3 months. I've got plenty of stuff for me. My family, there's no disease among my family members, but we have basic necessities. We've got some children's Tylenol for our grandchild. We have other things, headache relievers for other members of the family. Now, yesterday I mentioned having Tylenol. A lot of people have Advil. Okay? Tylenol has got acetaminophen in it, aspirin. Now, some people like myself cannot take anything but Tylenol. But I'm going to tell you this, folks. I'm going to tell you this. If you're taking Advil and you have the coronavirus, things might not go very well since you're taking Advil.
Someone wants to know if the water system is going down.
The water system, as far as I know, is not going down. But nobody has said anything about our water supply possibly becoming contaminated. Okay, I would watch that as well. Watch your water system. Pay attention to the television and radio stations. Remember what we said a long time ago during an emergency that you needed to have a AM, FM weather radio? AM, FM weather with the weather channel attached to the radio to get local news and important information for just your area. That's what weather radio does. But you also need your radio to be tuned to a news talk station. Yes, it's nice to have music, folks. I totally agree. Music savvy or calms a savage beast. But you're also going to want to hear the news, how things are going in your neck of the woods, in your neighborhood, in the town you live in, and your state. What if they lift the ban? You're going to be overjoyed. But you need to have the news station in your area.
That's right. And someone else included that you need to shower when you come in the door from outdoors at the stores.
Yes, that's the other important thing to do. When you come, right now, when you come in from work, and yes, once they put this ban in effect, only essential services are going to be allowed to go into work, meaning people who work in stores, pharmacies, police, fire, medical personnel, and those people that are making masks and surgical gowns. Those people will be allowed to go to work, but nobody else. But if you go to the store, you come home, take your shoes off at the door, wipe your shoes off with a Lysol, spray it, and then wipe them off with a paper towel, and put that paper towel in the garbage in a plastic bag. Why? You don't want possible coronavirus germs in your house. Immediately go in and take a shower with hot water and soap. Get the germs off your body, and immediately put your clothes in the laundry. Wash them. Wash your clothes. You don't want
And
that
Ron,
coronavirus in your home. Go ahead.
And Ron, would you tell the viewers to come to the channel?
Yes. Please come to the channel. We
The link
want
is
you.
the link
ahead.
is provided.
Okay, you've got the link provided to you. I'm now on YouTube. Pamela, thank you for putting that on the FRN chat room, because now I brought it up. For some reason, YouTube is not allowing me to go to my own, to the Freedom Revolution Network YouTube site. I'm there. I'm there.
Anyway, I love you, brother, and God bless you in Jesus' name.
Thank you, sis. I love you too. God
We'll
bless
talk
you,
again.
brother. All right. You be safe, okay?
I am.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
See you, bye. That was my friend Ava from Times and Signs. She's a sister. I shouldn't even say friend. She's a dear sister. I love her to pieces. Okay. She just answered, or we just got answers to your questions. I've got the chat room up on the YouTube channel, so you can ask me questions here. Yes, Lisa K says, okay, we all need to stay in or get in good shape. You're right. I have a treadmill, she says, it needs to be used. Please use it. Folks, if you have exercise equipment in your homes, please use it. Number one, you're going to be able to release those endorphins that are pent up in your body, and it's going to be able to make you feel good. Yes, you're probably going to be able to go out in your own yard, but that's as far as you're going to be able to go. You need to get some sun. You need about 15 or 20 minutes of midday sun every day to keep your mind and your body alert. Okay, so please do that. Food, water, medicine. Those are the top three things. Food, water, and medicine. If you have first aid supplies in your home, great. If you don't, I recommend you get some bandages. And I'm talking not just little finger type bandages either. Make sure you have decent bandages that you can cover a cut with. Don't leave open cuts. Please don't. If you get breaks on your fingers, in your skin, you're going to want to protect those, because that would be a very quick entry for the coronavirus to get into your body. You don't want to do that either. Okay? I'm just trying to give you hints to try to help you. All I want to do is help you here. Someone mentioned just a minute ago here in the chat room, the necessity to be able to protect yourself. That's an absolute necessity. Okay? I don't like to necessarily tell people that they need to protect themselves, but that's a gosh awful truth. You need to protect yourself and protect all the things in your home that you've worked so hard to get throughout your life, especially in this time where we have to be sentenced to our home. I never thought this would happen. I thought we'd have a war. I honestly thought we'd have a war to contend with. And we'd have to really protect what is ours. But now we have a different kind of war that's going to kill us. And there probably won't be any bullets flying around either. There could be, because the bad guys aren't going to care what the cops and the National Guard are doing. They're going to be out looting and rioting and causing problems. And yes, Storm Gypsy, our kids are out of school, so there won't be a school shooting. False flag, yes. However, you need to protect your kids. You need to keep your children occupied as well. Have games. We have a large box of games here in our house that we can play. Adults, and we have children's games as well. We just got our granddaughter a bunch more things to play with to keep her occupied, because she's going to go crazy. 17 months old, she's walking, running, and going crazy. She needs to be outside, but unfortunately, right now, it's not a good idea. And Storm Gypsy, only go after the blue hats. I hate to say it, but you're probably right. Tesla just donated 50,000 masks to the University of Washington. That's awesome. That really is. We have people that are making masks for the hospitals. People here in Salt Lake are making masks for hospital personnel. The president mentioned companies all over the United States making supplies for our hospital personnel, our healthcare professionals, our first responders. They need those supplies. At the end of the presidential news conference today, the coronavirus news conference, somebody said, give blood. Now, the only way you're going to be able to give blood is they're going to ask you a question. Are you sick? Have you had a fever? Have you traveled outside the country? They're going to give you a long questionnaire. And then they're going to find out whether you have a fever or not. But if you're able to give blood, do it. Because right now they're going to need it. People need transfusions to try to get over this stupid virus. There's all sorts of issues here. Now, we have companies that are also donating to other companies that don't have any money and aren't able to go to work. People that don't have money and can't go to work. It's happening all over the place. I just found out that Mitt Romney and Senator Mike Lee from Utah are in quarantine after being exposed to a senator that had COVID-19. They were in meetings, I guess, with Senator Rand Paul, who was just tested positive for COVID-19. So both Utah senators, Mike Lee and Mitt Romney, are now in isolating themselves in case they got COVID-19 as well. We talked about this yesterday. There's a 183-foot asteroid that's shooting past us today during a very close approach to Earth. It's shaping up to be a busy day for close asteroid encounters. 183-foot space rock is slated to shoot past Earth Sunday afternoon and will fly very close to the planet's surface. The rock will be followed by a smaller asteroid later this evening, one that will skim past the Earth while coming within 437,100 miles of the Earth. The larger of the two rocks to visit Earth tomorrow or actually today, is known as asteroid 2020 DP4, and is expected to swing by our planet at 3:34 Eastern, which was about 4 hours ago, 5 hours ago. NASA predicts that the space rock will come within 837,000 miles of the Earth, according to a report released yesterday by the agency's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. To put that in perspective, the moon sits at an average distance of about 238,900 miles from the Earth. The space rock is going to be like 3 times that distance, 837,000 miles away. The asteroid is traveling at a speed of just over 18,100 miles per hour relative to the Earth. Several hours after its close brush with our planet, the object will make a quick trip by the moon, zooming past the lunar surface 1 minute before midnight tonight. The asteroid will approach the moon from a comparable distance, safely passing by Earth and its natural satellite. This asteroid has been carefully monitored for the past 3 weeks as scientists aim to determine its orbit and calculate exactly how close it would pass to Earth. Per the JPL report, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, NASA has made 108 observations of the asteroid's position across the sky in order to trace out its orbit, its orbital path, and plot its course. And they're plotting that course through the rest of the solar system. The data has also enabled scientists to pinpoint the dates of its past and its future flybys of Earth. Okay. This asteroid circles the sun once every 1.35 years or so, often passing by Earth and occasionally by Mars as it orbits the giant sun. So it passes us every 1.5 years, basically. Interestingly enough, today's flyby of the Earth will be the closest one of all time for the 183-foot asteroid. The space rock typically buzzed over or past our planet from tens of millions of miles away, and such was the case of its double flyby in 2009 when it flew by the Earth, both in January and in mid-August of that year, as well as during previous approaches in 2001 and 1994. Its closest encounter with Earth until now occurred more than 30 years ago, when the asteroid managed to creep within 1.5 million miles of our planet. Now it's narrowed that gap to 830,000 miles. That's quite a distance. The rock will return October 5th, making 2020 another 2 flyby year. The next trip through our neck of the woods will bring it a staggering 39.2 million miles from the Earth. The asteroid will pop by Mars in November and then disappear for a few years, only to resurface in 2024. The year 2028 will bring another double flyby of the Earth, but the rock won't come nearly as close to our planet as it will today. So that's the lowdown on the asteroid. Some people have asked me about the asteroid, so I thought I'd tell you about it. Also, something else in regards to COVID-19. We've seen our stores ravaged and ransacked for toilet paper. Guess what? Unified Police in Salt Lake City today confiscated the largest band of toilet paper in our history. They found somebody that had been absconding toilet paper. A person put it on Facebook as kind of a joke. But remember where our earthquake was? The Magna precinct, where the earthquake was. The Magna PD, Unified Police in Magna, saw that post and they confiscated 400 rolls of illicit toilet paper to bring to light the act of kindness. The manager of the Magna Burger King asked the precinct how they could help the community during the COVID-19 pandemic. And the results of Wednesday's earthquake, officers suggested the Burger King should just help residents stock their thrones. The restaurant chair provided 380 rolls of toilet paper to be given to those in need. So guess what? The police confiscated another 400 rolls. Unreal. People with 400 rolls of toilet paper. What are they doing? And then they're putting it on Facebook and other sites trying to sell it. I've seen that too. These people need to get a life. These people need to get a life. All right, I've got that. Folks, like I said, I'm on the chat room. Does anybody have any questions for me? On NCIS rule number 9, don't screw with the boss. Don't screw with the boss, yeah. 2029 Telos is going to be a bigger asteroid doing a flyby. Cool. That's cool. That's 9 years from now. I'll be in my 70s. Woo! Okay, I just got notified that about 30 minutes ago we had a 4.06 earthquake here. I thought I felt something. A 4.06 earthquake. Isn't that funny? We're still getting large aftershocks. It wasn't a large earthquake. It's not what I'm saying. But a 4.0 moderate earthquake is a good aftershock. That's a pretty good sized aftershock. That's where it hit, out in Magna, Utah. Interesting. All right. Yes, Scooter Pie says we've got hospital beds coming to Washington State. The Army Corps of Engineers has gotten word from the president and the task force that there, I think it's 700 or 800 beds that they're going to have extra coming in there to be used as a hospital. California also has, I believe, 1,000 beds coming in, and they're also getting the USNS Mercy hospital ship that will be off the coast of Los Angeles, I guess. I guess they're going to ferry people back and forth from mainland California over to the hospital ship Mercy. I was able to see the hospital ship Mercy one time when it was off the coast of San Diego, being refurbished a lot of years ago, back in the 90s. And I've also seen the other hospital ship that will be in New York when I did a disaster drill up in New York State quite a few years ago. Wandering American says, what are your thoughts on Planet X, its existence, and its possibility of the earthquakes being a reaction to it? First off, yes, I do believe we have a Planet X, Nibiru, or whatever you want to call it. Wormwood also figures into it. It's electromagnetism. It has nothing to do with the planet's gravity, nothing. We have had, and we still are under the influence of a of the planetary alignment. It's getting less and less. And that's why I believe we've had all the earthquakes that we've had today, and all the earthquakes we had Friday and Saturday. Okay. All of those earthquakes play into the planetary alignments. Now we have had that 6. We did have that 6. Let me try to bring that earthquake. I don't remember where it is though. Let me find that earthquake map. Oh, please don't tell me I got rid of it. Oh, one of the other things I wanted to tell you about. The Justice Department earlier during the end of the week asked the US Congress quietly, they didn't want people to find out about it, which really ticks me off. They wanted new emergency powers granted to the DOJ amid the ominous coronavirus outbreak, including power to ask chief judges to indefinitely detain people without a trial. The DOJ proposed numerous emergency measures according to Politico, which obtained and reviewed documents the DOJ sent to lawmakers. In one of the documents, the DOJ proposed that Congress grant the Attorney General power to ask the chief judge of any district court to pause court proceedings whenever the district court is fully or partially closed by virtue of any natural disaster, civil disobedience, or other emergency situation. The proposal would also grant those top judges broad authority to pause court proceedings during emergencies. It would apply to any statutes or rules of procedure otherwise affecting pre-arrest, post-arrest, and pre-trial sessions, and post-trial procedures in criminal and juvenile proceedings and all civil proceedings and processes. The language the DOJ shared with Congress in making the case for the change is the DOJ document wrote that the individual judges can currently pause proceedings during emergencies, but their proposal would make sure all judges in any particular district handle emergencies in a consistent manner. The problem I have with that is they can detain anyone for any reason without a trial. That's against our constitutional rights. The proposal, which would essentially permit indefinite detention, would likely violate a person's right to appear before a judge and seek release after being arrested, a constitutional right known as habeas corpus. Specifically, the Constitution states, quote, "The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it," unquote. To pause the statute of limitations for criminal investigations and civil proceedings during national emergencies, as well as expand the use of video conference hearings, and to let some of those hearings happen without defendants present. What kind of garbage is that? The proposals of the DOJ were met with swift bipartisan condemnation, and that's what I wanted to hear. Mike Lee, senator from Utah, that's now in a self-quarantine, said, quote, "Over my dead body," unquote. If this is a joke, it's not funny. If it's not a joke, we've got much bigger problems. Please refute and disavow this immediately. Okay. So they tried to do it, and Mike Lee said, hell no. Hell no. Lisa says, plant a small garden indoors. Start it indoors. I'm starting ours indoors in pots. we're going to have a container garden this year because we've got gophers like I told you about. Start a garden, folks, and then protect your garden. Protect your garden. Times and signs, that's right. Deliver an imprisoned individual to the court and show a valid reason for that person's detention. As a cop, that's what I had to do. Immediately, within 72 hours, that person had to be in court with charges. Otherwise, we had to let him go. Sharon, they said that by the time a person would send a letter to you, me, or anybody else, it would take over 9 hours for you to get that piece of mail. Over 9 hours, the virus would not be on your mail. Plus, I'm understanding that the Postal Service has got a process where they put the mail under a UV light and it sterilizes anything on the outer part of the mail and the packages as well. The packages from anywhere, including China, take a long time getting here. And by that time, there's no virus on that mail, unless our delivery mailman has the virus. But then again, I'm told that our mail is safe. That's what I was told yesterday. There's, yes, Telos is, there is talks about suspending public mail service. It's true, they can do that. And if there's a quarantine, mailmen aren't going to be able to do their jobs. I don't think that's essential. I don't see where they could consider that essential work. But yes, we got to be careful, folks. And if and when you do get a piece of mail, I open it right then, put the envelope in the trash, put the letter in a pocket, and then I go wash my hands. And then I read the letter. I don't allow the envelope to even get in the house now. And I pay most of my bills over the phone or online now. And yes, I know that's dangerous too, but I've also got protection on my email and on my computer. Okay. On my email and computer. By the way, folks, I will be going, for the most part, for important and shall I say, mail that email and stuff that I don't want out into the general population. And I advise you guys to do it too. Get a Proton email address, Proton Mail. Go to your apps, pull it up, download it to your computer, get Proton email. Okay? It's all encrypted where nobody but you can know what it says. You and the person that you're conversing with. Yes, wandering American off-site voting for Congress for their protection, also unconstitutional. And also one of our Congress people, not here in Utah, but somebody, asked for a vote by mail. And they said no, because that's not safe enough. Yay, the end of junk mail. You're right, Lisa. You're right. Anyway, folks, it's that time again. I hope you have a great night. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of our show tonight. Before you leave, if you're on YouTube or whatever vendor you're on, please give us a thumbs up. Right now over on YouTube, we have 37 thumbs up. Let's try to double that. I don't see how many people are in our chat. We've had 2 people that gave us thumbs down, but you know, oh well. Oh well. But please give us a few thumbs up here. It's on 38 right now. We want to thank everybody here. Thank you for joining us. I ask God to bless you, and God bless America. God bless all of us. For Emergency Management Associates, this is Ron Tyler, and that's the way it is. Sunday, March 22nd, 2020. I hope you folks have a great night and a better tomorrow. I really do. I hope everybody has a great one. We are going to make sure that we're monitoring things tonight. I personally believe that we're going to have something happen, and we're going to be right here, right back with you as soon as the information becomes available. Take care, folks. We'll see you tomorrow or later tonight. We'll see you then. Good night, everybody. Thank you.